Church, I hope you're all doing well this afternoon. Today I want to talk to you about your spheres of influence. And the reason I'm talking about your spheres of influence is because yesterday in my video, I mentioned that we're to glorify God, and that God actually sends us out as agents of His glory. What does it mean to glorify God? Well, it means that we actually reveal God's character in our spheres of influence. And then at the end of the video, I talked about, what you probably need to do is you need to maybe expand your spheres. Like maybe that's the best way for you to bring God the most amount of glory right now is you need to start expanding your spheres of influence. And so as you do that, I think it would be helpful to talk about what exactly it is that I mean when I say spheres of influence. And so this is what we're talking about when we're talking about spheres. So the general idea is this. Jesus, right here, that's the J, Jesus has welcomed us into His sphere of influence. So He's brought us all in together. That's the church, right? This is where we gather together. We worship Him. We hear from His word. We work to obey Him. But then He actually sends us out into our spheres of influence to reveal God's glory, to reveal God's character. And so the first sphere that we actually start with is with ourselves. That's the place where we have the most significant influence is with me. And so as I walk into this sphere of influence, this is why it's not enough to just worship on Sunday, that we actually we seek to engage with sort of spiritual disciplines. We seek to engage in Christian growth. And the reason we do this is because these help to carry our worship throughout the week. These things help to create our hearts to be a place of influence for Jesus. And so first sphere of influence is with ourselves. The next sphere of influence that we're sent out into is our home. So we're sent into our home. This is spouse, kids, parents, whatever that looks like. That's like the immediate place that affects. But then your home actually has all of these extensions of it. It extends out into your extended family, right? So you have an extended family, a group of people that you have influence with, and with those people, you have an opportunity to reveal God's character in that sphere. Your home is also giving you a physical location where you're in the midst of a bigger physical location, and you have relational networks that develop in your neighborhood. Like your home enables you to have an extended network, to have a bigger sphere of influence, and it gives you a neighborhood, places where you can interact with people and have conversations and that kind of thing. So you want to use that sphere that your home creates. Your home creates a sphere of influence, and you want to use that sphere to reveal God's character. And then out from your home, you have another sphere of influence that develops. It's your workplace. So then you ask the question again, okay, in my workplace, these people that I spend most of my days with, we are interacting, we're having conversations, I'm serving, I'm trying to do my job well, I'm trying to contribute to society here in this workplace. And so the question is, through my words and my actions, how can I best reveal God's character in this sphere of influence, right? So that's work, that's what that implies. And then there's another sphere that extends even outside of that. And this one's hard to identify with just one word, so I'll call this third spaces. So third spaces, and this is what third spaces are. Third spaces are places that you make an intentional decision to invest that are not connected to either your home or your work. So what are some examples of third spaces? When I was in seminary, I made a decision to join a barbershop chorus. And part of the reason I made that decision was, I like music, I like singing, that's fun, it's a little weird, it's a little quirky, whatever. So that's one of the reasons. But another reason was honestly because I knew that I needed to expand my spheres of influence and actually kind of touch base with people who are not in seminary. It's really easy to live in a bubble in seminary and forget what the rest of the world is like. And I know that Jesus was sending me into mission. And so if that's the case, then I really needed to develop a third space. So that my barbershop course became that third space for me, an opportunity for me through my words and my actions to reveal God's character in my sphere of influence. So that happened. And then what is another sphere of influence? It could be a coffee shop that you decide to make an intentional investment in, create a space there where you become a known person, and then in becoming a known person, you encourage people, you reach out to them, you start having conversations with people. So it could be a coffee shop. It could be actually one of our third spaces as a church is Crossroads. We are intentionally investing in the lives of kids in a public school. We've picked that as a third space, and in a couple of public schools, that's a third space where we go and we seek to reveal God's character in that sphere of influence. And so all of these spaces, these are all places that we are sent. Jesus sends us out into the world from his sphere of influence and sends us out into to reveal God's character to our spheres. So when I talk about expanding your spheres of influence, it might mean figuring out what places your home is connected to. Maybe there are some relational networks in your home that haven't been tapped yet, that you haven't actually tried to intentionally invest in for the glory of God. Maybe there's a place in your neighborhood, your home's connected to a neighborhood. Maybe there's a neighbor you need to reach out to. Maybe there are multiple neighbors you need to reach out to. Your workspace, maybe this means seeking to be a source of encouragement to the other employees in your workspace. Maybe this means seeking to reveal the joy of the Lord in that space just through your demeanor and the way that you carry yourself. It might mean actually creating relationships and building one-on-one relationships with people in order for a chance to be able to meet with them outside of work time and share the gospel with them, share the hope that is in you, right? So that's your workspace. And then maybe third space is maybe what you really need to do is you need to pick a space to invest, or you and another group of Christians in the church need to pick a space that you're intentionally going to invest and call your third space, and call a place that you all are going to work together to intentionally reveal the character of God in that space. But when I talk about spaces, this is what I'm talking about. When I talk about your sphere of influence, these are all the things that I'm thinking of. These are all the opportunities that we have to actually reveal God's character to the world around us. So ABC, thank you for listening today, and I hope you find this helpful and encouraging to you as you seek to engage your spheres of influence for the glory of God. Thanks so much for listening to me.